The sport has always had a slightly corrupt and on-the-fly image. Murray Walker, a semi-retired Formula One commentator, once said of the sport, anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, and it usually does. However, you could be forgiven for thinking he was talking about taking a 180-degree turn and hoping for the best. Hello and welcome back to another exciting video from our channel. We will reveal F1's dirty secrets in this video. But first, to avoid missing any of our videos, please subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's get started. On and off the track, teams compete in a dangerous game to gain a psychological or technological advantage over their competitors, whether on race day or in the build-up, or by engineering accidents and throwing races. It's just that most of us don't hear about it when we're watching a 190-mile blitz of high-performance engines. So without further ado, here are the 10 dirty secrets that F1 executives hoped you'd forgotten about. Number 10. Riscasgate 2006. It was the final qualifying lap for the Monaco Grand Prix. If Fernando Alonso could finish in 0.064 seconds ahead of Michael Schumacher, he would take pole A, crucial positions for the Circuit de Monaco. With his chances of winning the race slipping away by such a small margin, the German's driving became, quote, a touch too much. He got it all wrong at Riscas, locking up his front right tire and veering off across the exit of the right-hander. You could argue that it was an unintentional error, but keep in mind that Alonso drove his final qualifier on a certainty to get to the front of the grid. However, due to Schumacher's position, the qualifying session was called off, denying Alonso his pole-winning time. Is it a coincidence or intentional? To this day, the latter is denied, but almost everyone in F1 suspects it. Number 9. BAR's Honda Fuel Tank 2005. FIA regulations can be difficult to interpret at times, but it can also be enjoyable to interpret them in the way that best suits you. In 2005, the headmaster summoned the function team BAR, or British American Racing, to explain why their cars weighed 594.6 kilos when completely empty, rather than the sport's minimum of 600 kilos. Stewards waited with bated breath for an explanation after Jenson Button took the podium and Takuma Sato finished 5th in the San Marino Grand Prix that year. None were particularly comprehensive, though the BAR team claimed that their car's engines required a minimum of 6 kilos of fuel stored in a special collector to function. The fact that the steward's inquiry accepted the verdict was a huge relief for BAR, but it didn't stop the FIA from vetoing the result and ordering BAR to serve a year's ban. Fortunately for BAR, the FIA's counter-argument, while agreed upon by the justices, did not result in a ban because of a positive intent to cheat could not be proven. So let's be honest, why would you make something like that public? Until now, that is. Number 8. Senna versus Prost. Now, Hamilton and Alonso aren't the only couple whose squabbles were blatantly ignored by management. Consider the strange case of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost in 1989. With the Japanese Grand Prix approaching, Prost made no secret of his displeasure with the 29-year-old Italian's driving tactics. Prost got the better of the two in the race at Suzuka, nullifying the Brazilian's pole position advantage. Senna had caught the Frenchman by lap 46, and as he overtook at a chicane, Prost deliberately collided with Senna's car, taking them both out. Although Senna was able to rejoin the race, he was disqualified soon after, leading him to believe that there was a plot to make Prost the champion. Senna got his revenge in 1990 when the pair collided again at Suzuka's chicane. Running Prost off now ensured that Senna's French rival couldn't score more points, and despite speculation, the accident was still attributed to one of those things. Number 7. Max Mosley, the cover-up. Hey, sex scandals happen. There's probably one going on right now that we won't hear about for another year. There's always a chem-sex party behind a closed door somewhere, whether someone is rich or poor. However, the News of the World obtained a video that allegedly showed President Max having Nazi-themed fun with some prostitutes. Mosley won his lawsuit against the paper, but he didn't dispute the authenticity of the tape. He just didn't like the label of a Nazi-themed sex party. So perhaps a National Socialist leitmotif would have been more appropriate, and $92,000 less expensive. Number 6. Bernie Ecclestone, the sexist. Let's start at the very top of the F1 food chain with Bernie Ecclestone, the recently deposed CEO and president of Formula One management. With his silver hair, round glasses, and occasional black eyes, billionaire Ecclestone is one of the F1's most visible and well-known figures. The former Formula One Supremo worked tirelessly to bring success and money to the sport, but he was not without scandal and controversy. Furthermore, The Times quoted Ecclestone in 2009 as saying, quote, "Hitler was a leader who could get things done. Take from that what you will, but we can only speculate on what else he is saying behind closed doors." Number 5. Twin chassis Lotus 88, circumventing the technicalities. In 1981, Lotus's Colin Chapman, Peter Wright, Tony Rudd, and Martin Ogilvy had an unusual idea. According to Wikipedia, the twin chassis design aided their ongoing efforts to maximize downforce produced by ground effects and could run a car faster than any other in the paddock. Chapman's plan was straightforward. The inner chassis held the cockpit and was independently sprung from the outer one to take ground effect pressures, while the outer chassis was essentially one big ground effect system from nose to tail. It was a clever idea, one that legendary designer Chapman argued fit within the strict technological guidelines of F1 regulations. But rival teams disagreed and protested. Lotus's competitors were rightfully enraged by Chapman's method of skirting the rules. Protests were filed on the grounds that the twin chassis concept violated the rules. Without much further debate, the FIA banned the car and it never raced again. Number 4. 2008 Crashgate. Here's some more information on Briatore's shady past. Crashgate was the name given to one of the most unforgivable and frankly reckless controversies in recent history. It was a secret that executives could only keep for a year until Nelson Piquet Jr. revealed to the world that his Renault managers had instructed him to crash during the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. Despite the top order's arrogance in assuming the reasons for the crash would never be revealed, it became common knowledge that the subsequent safety car period helped promote teammate Fernando Alonso to first place and claim the win. Only after Renault dropped the German-born Brazilian Piquet Jr. in the middle of 2009 did he reveal that he had been asked to deliberately sabotage the race. How could the team have contested the charges? Flavio Briatore, Renault F1's managing director, and Pat Simmons, the team's executive director of engineering, both left. The former was given a lifetime ban from the sport, while the latter was banned for 5 years, which was later overturned by a French court. Number 3. 2005 United States Grand Prix. A Max Mosley blunder in 2005 not only made F1 a laughingstock in the heart of American road racing, but it also harmed relations with the hugely influential Michelin. Michelin, the world's largest tire manufacturer, discovered too late that the banked final turn of the Indianapolis circuit caused the sidewalls of its tires to collapse. Mosley stepped up in absentia with masterminded idiocy and instructed drivers to take the corner at a snail's pace, too late to do anything about it and with 7 teams relying on rubber. The better idea of building a makeshift chicane to bypass the corner was rejected, though why is unclear, even after the Michelin-supplied teams offered to start from the back of the grid. Mosley's final decision to slow the cars down on the last bend was a sure sign that the sport was being governed by people who didn't care one iota about the safety of the drivers, spectators, or even the technology partners. Number 2. Minimum weight requirements. Is it against the rules or just for economic reasons? This was the big question for executives in 1982, after a weight issue arose from constructors who realized that competing well against turbo-powered rivals would require more than a minor tweak. The answer was a lighter car, even without a turbo, but the question was how to cheat the weigh-in. Lotus's Colin Chapman, remember him, devised a reserve water tank that, when full at the pre-race weigh-in, provided the correct regulation weight. During the race, the water could be dumped to give the car an advantage, and before the post-race weigh-in, it could be topped up as easily as a kettle. Excellent outcomes followed. However, when executives discovered the secret to their success, they were fired. According to some, this was an unfair and politically motivated decision. The British teams boycotted the Grand Prix of San Marino, and now you know why. Number 1. The return of Schumacher. Regardless of the controversy surrounding Riscasgate, Michael Schumacher is no stranger to on-track brawls. Question is, how much of it is led by a team? We could be forgiven for thinking that the majority of it is. When both drivers were vying for the F1 title in Adelaide in 1994, the German collided with Damon Hill as the Englishman was overtaking, forcing both to retire from the race. Nigel Mansell won the race, but Schumacher won the championship by a single point. Then, in 1997 against Jacques Villeneuve, a repeat of the same maneuver assured the cynical among us of Schumacher's team's tactical motivations. However, the strategy backfired spectacularly this time, with Villeneuve becoming F1 world champion and Schumacher being thrown out of the championship, discredited and sanctioned by the FIA. That's all we have for now. Thank you for taking the time to review this. What do you think about exposing F1's dirty secrets? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Have a good day, and we'll see you all in the next video.